Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. Let's kind of get into understanding some basic navigation and workflow options inside of Maya here. So we're working in Maya 2019, and if we look over to our left, we're going to have your navigational tools, your select tools, this one's going to be your move tool, your rotate tool, right down here, and it's going to be your tool for enlarging your objects. So let's actually bring an object in here so that we can kind of get a better idea how to work a little bit more practically. Look right above is your shelf. You're going to see some tabs up here. Everything represents a particular genre you're going to be working in. So like curves and surfaces, your poly modeling, your sculpting, rigging, animation, and so forth. Go through here and click on them. That way you can kind of get used to just the interface, what you're going to see and what you have access to for each of those shelves there. Okay, all right, so if I come right over to here to the curves, not the curves, but right next to the curves and surfaces on the right hand side, you can see poly modeling. We're going to be able to apply primitives, which are predefined shapes, and or we can deal with planar shapes. We're interested in using three-dimensional shapes. So we got a sphere, we have our cube, we have our cylinder, and so forth. What I'd like you guys to do is just actually click once on that cube, and what you're going to see is Maya is going to place that cube right in the center of your world space, or your world coordinate, which is going to be 0, 0, 0 axis, dead center there. Once your object is there, it's kind of far away, so we're going to zoom in closely to it. Simply hit the A key, which basically means select all. Now let's learn how to navigate this here. We're going to have 3 button mice are going to be critical in 3D. So a left, middle, and right click. And that can actually be applied for certain navigational workflows inside of Maya. Now, if I use a right click, let's start with this one. We hold the Alt key down, or Option key. Use a left click. That's going to navigate around your subject. Or it's called kind of your tumble. Okay. And that's going to rotate around your heading, pitch, and bank axes. If we hold down Alt again, and a right middle click is going to zoom in and out. If you use Alt once again and use a right click, that's going to pan your object. All right. Now, if you're using a Wacom pen, I want to show you how I like to set things up for that. I'm going to go over here to my Wacom properties, and I have it already open. If you don't, go to your navigation, go to your program folders, and go down the Wacom tablet. I'm in Windows, of course, and go down to Wacom tablet properties. Once you've targeted the properties, I'm using my Wacom Pen Pro 2 pen, and I'm also going to target Maya. If Maya is not already up here, which it won't be on your system if you just installed your tablet, you're going to add programs under the application by clicking on the plus tab on the right hand side. Once anything that's open, then your Wacom properties will see it. That's the beauty of the software. So Maya is there. I've already loaded in. What you would do is click OK, but I'm not going to. It's already there. And inside, by default, you'll notice a right click for your bottom button, and there's a standard click for your bottom tip, and then right above here on the very top button here is the middle click. Now I set that designation. By default, that's a double click. So once Maya is selected, make darn sure that Maya is selected. Go to your top button, leave the right, by default, that's going to be handy. Then go to up here to your drop list, click and target your middle click. Now that's going to set that middle button, and because Maya has been targeted as the application of choice to set the preferences to, then this will stay for that until you physically come in here and release it. Let's go try it out. So what I'm going to do is hold the Alt or Option key down, tap down and hold my Wacom pen on my pad or monitor if you're using the Cintiq, and that will tumble my interface here, or world coordinate here. If I want to zoom in and out, I'm going to hold the Alt key down once again and hold down the bottom button that's closest to the tip of my pen, and make sure I don't touch the pad. I'm just going to hover it above the pad and just move it up and down. That's going to zoom in and out. Right to left does it as well, but up and down does it faster. Okay. So it's zooming in and out into your Z space or Z space. Now again, we have that top button, that top tumble button, as a right click, right? So Alt Option, hold it down, hold down the top button, and let your pen hover above your pad and move it around so that you can actually move on the X or the Y axis. That's more of a two-dimensional move there. Okay, X or Y, right to left, up and down. All right, nice. So now that we know how to navigate a little bit, you're going to constantly be moving around your object and selecting surfaces. And in fact, talking about the ways to select surfaces, let's see if we can change the interface a little bit to help us select our various surfaces, which is going to be your polygon surface, your edges, or your points, which is what all your three-dimensional shapes are going to be made up of. Now right over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see your navigational and selection tools. This little arrow here is going to allow you to select whatever mode that you're in. Now I'm inside the I'm selecting the edges here, and I can change that. So one way I can do so is put your mouse, right click, and then you're going to have the ability to go to edges, object mode, face mode, or vertex. Okay, all right. So let's kind of pay attention to those right now. So currently I'm in edge mode. So if I right click and hold, I can kind of select which one I want to work in. So as you know, currently I'm in the edge mode. So if I click on any of these, it'll turn orange, which means that it's been highlighted and selected. Now what if I want to grab one of the faces here? Right click again, and we're going to go right behind it, right below it, 180 degrees to the face view. And as I navigate the mouse, I'm just letting the cursor hover above the faces, and that is going to tell you which face is going to be selected if I left click. If I left click on one of them, you can see it's highlighted orange. Okay, so if I want to deselect it, I'm going to click right here on the interface and it goes away. I'm going to go right click again, and this time we're going to go over to vertex. That's the points. So you can see vertexes will be highlighted red. So if I target any of these, it'll turn orange, and if I want to deselect it, I can just click anywhere on this interface. Okay, now to make this even easier, we can go up to a 4-up view where we can see things from a top, side, or bottom view, or right view or side view, as well as perspective view at the same time. Now right below your selection tools, you're going to have these options right down here. Now currently it's highlighted, it's the single view. If I click click the next one down, that's your 4-up view. If I click down the next one, you've got a 2-up view. Okay, so you can choose whichever one that you choose to work with. Let's go over here to the 4-up view. All right, now remember A was the shortcut to navigate the drop, to actually drop the view into a full frame mode here. Wherever I place the cursor and hit A, it's going to move it into that view. So I put the cursor in any of these and hit A. Now let's say if let's pull these back a little bit. Let's kind of zoom that one back and zoom that one back, and give them varying views. All right, and if I hold down Shift F, it will fit everything into full view. So Shift F as in Frank. All right, so just keep that in mind. So we can go to individual ones. Okay, and I'm going to kind of hit the A, or what we can do is hit the Shift F, which navigates everything at one time. Now, how about this? If I go to the cube, let's go to this view. Say I want to quickly go to the perspective view. Make sure your cursor is hovering over your perspective view, and hit the space bar. That'll jump your view into full screen mode. Hit your A key. Everything now you can work only in that view. If you want to go back up to the 4-up view, hit the space bar again. Let's say you want to view this side of your face over here, which is going to be your front side. Make sure your cursor is hovering right over there. Hit the space bar, and all of a sudden it will navigate or jump to that full screen view of the front side. If I want to go back once again, the space bar key is your toggle. Now, let me share something else with you. If I select our object, and let's do so, let's go to right click and let's select the object mode. So I'm selecting the whole object. All right. And if I want to move the object and not just the interface, before we've been playing around with moving the entire space, entire world space. But now I'll navigate around it. Now I want to move just the object. Target the object, come right over to here, and that's your move tool there. You're going to get a little 3D navigational tool, and you can click on any one of these little navigational widgets. That's your Y, X, Y, and Z. Whichever one you target, it's going to highlight yellow, and it's going to restrict it to that particular space. Okay. Let's kind of move it in and out. There we go. So, if I want to move a single face, for instance. And before I do that, let me go over the rotation so that you can see. You're going to get your widgets for rotational, heading, pitch, and banks. Okay. All right, and then you have your resizing. Go down right below that, and I can resize by clicking and holding on that middle. That will constrain the proportions, or I can stretch it by targeting X, Y, or Z axis. So if I target the X axis only, it will stretch it or resize it along that axis, and that's going to be the case for all of this. So just be aware that you've got that capability. If you haven't have it into the Maya default or the Maya Classic default interface, which should be by default, let's come over here and set it up. On your workspace, you have your various workspace, you have your standard view, your expert view. It'll give you various setups. Like for sculpting, it'll reorganize your panels for sculpting. Drop that down. UV editing, it'll reorganize your panels for that according to Autodesk's recommendation. But what we want is Maya Classic. Go to Maya Classic, and then what we're going to do is go over to the far right hand side. Is you're going to have the option to have an attributes editor. You're going to get several options here. We got a channel box. We have our modeling toolkit, but then we got the attributes editor here, and then inside the attributes editor, you're going to get several different tabs here. The one that we're interested in is the Polycube 1, and what this is going to allow you to do or to accomplish is to actually divide this cube. So all of your primitives, we go back over here to the poly modeling tab, all of your primitives have I should say a predefined ability to be subdivided with this panel. So let's go ahead and subdivide it to, let's say 3 sides for each one. All right, so I'm just taking a slider, or you can tap in here and put in the number 3. And we've just subdivided our cube in width, height, and depth direction. So we can move it around. We've just added more geometry. All right, let's go ahead and hit the A key, drop that into a closer view. Now, what I'd like to do is select one of these faces. I'm going to right click, right click and hold, and we're going to target the face option right here. That's going to give us the ability to navigate our cursor to target whichever face that I'm interested in. I'm going to target this one in the top right hand corner. Now, if I want to zoom in, currently I'm still utilizing the center of the object to move around. But what if I want to actually the center of the object to be that single face there? If I hold down the Shift F key, so Shift F for fill the frame will fill it with the selected object. And again, so now we can just navigate and rotate around just that one selected face. Okay, go hit the A key to fit it all into view. Go target that back one right there, and once again Shift F will fit that into view. So this is a nice little navigational feature. So it doesn't matter what I choose to select. So if I right click again, go ahead and target the vertex here. Grab one. I tell you what. Let's do this. Let's go and grab an edge. That'll be easier. Grab one of these edges. It's highlighted orange there. and we're going to go to Shift F key. It fills the screen with that particular edge. Is that making sense? So there you go. Some basic navigational options inside of Maya. I think it's going to really help you in terms of creating your desired 3D designs.